into a scorecard. And I think I was interested to see what came up at my table when people felt that the scores and the levels don't really reflect what people feel on the ground is taking place. But one problem always with ticking a box is that once I've ticked the box and I'm compliant, I'm no longer personally responsible. And I think that's what I've found with empowerment, is people think I've got the box. You've got some incredibly unimaginative companies. Their whole advertisement around their transformation is to run a one-page newspaper ad and say we're level 3, triple B, double E. And that's it. And then they feel they've done their job, let's go on and let's move on. So I think, for me, we need to rethink that. Transformation is a question of values and commitment and responsibility. So I think it's very important to do that. I think that I just want to there's been a lot made, what do we need to do explicitly, or what areas could we address? And I don't really want to go into those. Obviously, there's no escaping education. I think that's come through very clearly. That if you are rethinking and you're wanting a new kind of bureaucrat, you want new leaderships, you're wanting to find new solutions, new policies, new approaches, we cannot do it with the level of education and what's taking place. South Africa is going to go nowhere if we don't resolve that problem. I think the other issue that gets left out, it's come up here a little bit around entrepreneurship, but is we have a missing middle in South Africa. And we've got a missing middle in terms of the corporate sector. We've got a very highly concentrated big corporates and lots of people lots of companies at the base. And we have equally with the middle class. Our middle class is very small. It should get a lot bigger. Now, there is a problem with this. If we have a stronger middle class, we have a stronger entrepreneurial class. The reason being that when you have a middle class, people have access to networks, finance, family support, little safety nets that they could have to go out and be entrepreneurial. So that becomes very important in how we address an issue like that if we want to address economic issues. But we also, the job creation often comes from your middle-sized companies. It's not from the base. The base is a subsistence very often. It provides people with some security, but it's not a major generator of growth and jobs at a very high rate. And it's that middle level of company that struggles to come forth. So for me, it's very important that when we address entrepreneurship and we address this, we're looking at the middle, and where does empowerment come in at that middle level? So what I would like us to do as a sort of policy focus is to look at this in a very concentrated way and say, move over, Naomi Campbell. Could we please have the girth of a gogo in our society? Because we need a big middle. And then I think we can survive. The last point I want to say is, it's been touched on, there's been areas around sustainable and responsible investment or impact investment. There's a huge potential here. And, I think what's very sad is that South Africa should be an innovator in this area. And there were early initiatives to start special funds that are socially responsible. I think we've had 2 tables dealing with this issue. But there's been an enormous amount of innovation overseas. And we've got sidetracked to some extent. We saw the transformation in the investment arena to be BEE ownership. And we've forgotten about the very many facets of social investment. And I'm not going to go into it, there's a lot of innovation taking place. And I think it's an opportunity for South Africa to say, let's rethink social investment. Where are the financial institutions on this? Where are the funds being made available for it? How do you get good social purpose and profit moving together? And let South Africa become an innovator and a leader in this field instead of us really often following people. And let me give you one example. We're not entirely following. There are companies that do stuff that is quite exceptional. So the things you can never do. Do you ever give life insurance for HIV/AIDS to people? Now you've got a company that does it. They're funded by a special fund. So you've got some innovation taking place here, and I think that this is an area we should all be looking at. How do we expand that area? Thanks very much. I hope I've given you something to chew on.
I'm sure you all have a lot to elaborate on. If I have to just take Jenny's talk into account, there is so much to be said about broad-based black economic empowerment. And of course, the scorecard is not an accurate reflection of BBBEE. And saying that, I did mention earlier that I found the brainstorming within the dialogue session to be delightfully overwhelming. And as such, we have the feedback of the dialogue session to the left of my side in the room. It's up on the walls and the flip charts. That is the summary of all the points that you put forth. The 3 points that you stressed at the end of your discussions at each table is what has been posted up on the wall. And in your conference packs, you'll find stickers. There is a yellow sticker, which you may use, a black and an orange one. And these you may use to vote for the points which you believe need to be addressed. Use the yellow stickers to indicate that which you think you could contribute to personally. Use the black stickers to indicate a quick win. And use the orange stickers to indicate that which you believe to make the most significant difference in our country. I thank you so much for your cooperation and abiding by time. And whilst I'm still on time, the lunch is 30 minutes, so please make sure that you do have lunch within half an hour and return to the room. Thank you very much. On our next speaker, but I would be greatly appreciative if you're settled before that. Ladies and the few gentlemen that we do have in the room, please join me in giving a warm round of applause to our next speaker, clinical and organizational psychologist Dorianne Wheel, or better known as Dr. D.